Are you worried about ESG? Are you worried about the Great Reset? Are you worried about out of control woke corporations? Well, if you are, there is absolutely huge news, and not bad news, good news coming out of Florida from Governor Ron DeSantis. But before I get to that, because it is absolutely an incredible story, please subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in these topics, if you're interested in what's going on with the Biden administration, you're just interested in politics, but you don't want to hear just the same old run-of-the-mill stories you've heard 1,000 times over, subscribe to our channel, Stopping Socialism TV. Join the cause. Help us fight back against the Great Reset, fight back against woke corporations, fight back against big banks, financial institutions, BlackRock trying to transform our country. That's what our channel is all about at Stopping Socialism TV. I'm Justin Haskins. I'm a writer, a researcher. I'm a New York Times best-selling author working with Glenn Beck on a whole bunch of topics, including topics related to ESG and the Great Reset. So I'm deeply interested in these topics, and a story came to my attention recently that absolutely blew me away. And so I wanted to share it with you as soon as I possibly could. Now, I want to do a more detailed video of this. I'm going to post one on Stopping Socialism TV probably within the next week with my colleague Donald Kendall, who also worked with me and Glenn Beck on a whole bunch of projects related to socialism and the Great Reset and all sorts of other things. But I couldn't wait. I had to put together a video. And so what I want to do is talk about this bill. I'm going to pull it up. So if you're watching the video version of this on YouTube or elsewhere, you're going to see a press release from Governor Ron DeSantis' office announcing new legislation. The press release says, Governor Ron DeSantis announces legislation to protect Floridians from the woke ESG financial scam. Now, what is going on here? States across the country have been working on legislation to try to push back against ESG, and they've done it in a whole bunch of different ways, some of them more effective than others. About 11 states so far have actually put anti-ESG laws in place, oftentimes not passed by legislatures. Typically, it's things that are done through executive action or by state treasurers or something like that. All of those things are really important, but all of those things that have happened so far at the state level have left out one really, really important thing. Banks and financial institutions are the primary drivers of the ESG agenda right now. And they're doing it by withholding access to financial services like a bank loan, for example, or tying rewards or punishments to various things based on their ESG social credit scores. For those of you who don't know what social credit scores are, you don't know what ESG is, that's okay. Go to Stopping Socialism TV and check out one of the many videos we've done on ESG, social credit scoring, what's going on in China, the Great Reset in general, and you can learn all about it. But this video is primarily for those who have some sense of what ESG is. In the past, as I've said, banks have been able to use ESG, financial institutions have been able to use ESG, insurance companies as well, to promote left-wing causes. Well, in Florida, that could soon change. According to the press release issued by the by the office of Ron DeSantis, they're soon going to be introducing legislation that's going to prohibit big banks. This is coming directly from the press release. Prohibit big banks, trusts, and other financial institutions from discriminating against customers for their religious, political, or social beliefs, including their support for securing the border, owning a firearm, and increasing our energy independence. It's also going to prohibit the financial sector from considering so-called social credit scores in banking and lending practices that aim to prevent Floridians from obtaining loans, lines of credit, and bank accounts. These provisions directly target one of the biggest issues with ESG right now. It's the primary way I think ESG can be imposed on America, not just on businesses, by the way, but on individuals as well. And so this is a huge move by Ron DeSantis and Republicans in Florida. And it's not just Ron DeSantis. I want to make sure that we give credit where credit is due. The press release makes it very clear that the Senate president in Florida, Kathleen Passidomo, and the House Speaker, Paul Renner, also huge supporters of trying to restrict the use of ESG. ESG is not the free market. It's not free market capitalism. It's collusion. It's corruption. It's cronyism. And the idea, because and the only reason I'm saying this is because there are lots of Republicans out there who are the ones trying to get in the way of people creating laws that prevent ESG from being imposed on businesses and individuals. This is not the free market. And the idea that big corporations, big giant corporations that are treated with special status, both in terms of taxes, the taxes that they pay, the regulations that they have to deal with, the bailouts that they get from the government, the special favors that they're able to get through lobbying and other things. The idea that big corporations that don't have legal liability, that aren't treated as individuals in a whole bunch of other ways, are somehow entitled to be able to all get together, collude with each other, and then impose their will, impose their values through an ESG system across the entire economy is absolutely nuts. That is not free market capitalism. It is not what the founding fathers of this country intended when they created a free market system in the United States, or actually protected the free market system that had been adopted when America started as colonies of England. That is not at all what they had in mind, and it's not what conservatives should support here in the United States today. This is a huge, huge step in the right direction. There's so much more that I want to talk about. This bill is going to do all kinds of other things, including prohibit the use of ESG in investment decisions at the state and local level, ensuring that fund managers only consider financial factors that maximize the highest rate of return. It's also going to prohibit all state and local entities, including direct support organizations, from considering, giving preference to, or requesting information about ESG as part of the procurement and contracting process. That means that government agencies and people who are dependent on government are not going to be able, institutions that are dependent on government are not going to be able to use ESG as a way to screen people out or only do business with people who have adopted a woke ideology. All sorts of other things that I want to talk about. Again, I'm going to do a longer video with my colleague Donald Kendall on this. It's going to be at Stopping Socialism TV. So if you're interested in that, check that video out. I'm going to try to remember to come back into this video and add a link so that you will be able to access the longer video. But if you don't see the link right now, it's either because the video hasn't been created yet, or because I forgot to put it in the video here. So go back. Go to Justin and Donald Save America, the playlist on Stopping Socialism TV, which you can find on YouTube and elsewhere. Everywhere you get your podcast, you'll be able to find Justin and Donald Save America. And listen to that episode, because it's going to provide so much incredible information about what's going on with ESG and why this move by Ron DeSantis is so incredibly important. All right, there's a lot more that I wish I could say, but for right now, we're going to have to stop. Until next time, please stay free and fight back against ESG. It is the biggest threat to our freedom facing all Americans, not just people on the right, but people on the left too. Because if big corporations and banks can collude together to target conservatives, to target certain ideologies, it may be that they're targeting conservatives right now, but they have the power to target anyone they want, no matter what your ideology is. So if you're going to get in the way of these institutions and their goals, there's nothing stopping them from targeting you in the future too. So huge, huge news here. Incredibly important that we fight back against ESG. Until next time, stay free, stay strong, fight back against ESG, and join us at Stopping Socialism TV on YouTube.